Chiefs put up a good fight, but come up short on Thanksgiving Day. What does it mean for their season? Well, it is a crossroads. We're going to go through it all right now live with Matt Derrick on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome back, friends and neighbors. Happy Thanksgiving to you. We appreciate you joining us here on Locked On Chiefs, your daily podcast and holiday podcast for the Kansas City Chiefs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day, and now the #1 sports podcast network. We appreciate you every dayers, especially on a day like today. Thank you very much. Make another Locked On show your next listen next. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting, with my partner Chris Clark over there at KC Chiefs Corner, and our special guest, always post-game, Matt Derrick from ChiefsDigest.com, Chiefs Digest on YouTube, and 41 is the mic, the podcast. We've been doing this for quite a long time. We appreciate you guys being with us on a holiday. We're going to make it brief on the intros because this was a dynamic game. This was a game that they had to have. They come up just short, Matt. We're going to hit you with what the standouts were on the positive side and what the failure points were. That's later in the show. Before that, what this means for the season. What are the turning points in this game? And it starts right now, Matt. What goes on next? The biggest takeaway from this game is I thought effort was there. I thought the plan was decent. Just couldn't execute at key moments for me. And obviously, big injury takeaway. What changed this game for you?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of little things once again. I mean, execution, like you said, really let this team down consistently throughout the day. It was one of the weaker defensive performances, particularly from the secondary, that we have seen from this defense in a long, long time. I mean, when Trent McDuffie is struggling, which it makes sense against some big, talented receivers, that's what Trent McDuffie's going to struggle against. But Jalen Watson had some rough moments. Everybody had rough moments, but and this game, whether you like the way it was called or not, it was called the way that the Cowboys wanted it to be called, because this game was called in a way that if you got handsy with the receivers, you were going to get flagged, and Chiefs got flagged pretty much all day long. And hey, could you pick a fight with most of those calls? Sure. I mean, there was a lot of questionable calls, but we talked about it before. I mean, you got to overcome that. You know, if you're a good team, if you're a playoff caliber team, you're a Super Bowl team like this team believes, you're going to be able to overcome those things. You're going to be able to make some adjustments, and they just didn't do that today. And as far as aggressive as they were 3 of 3 on fourth down. It's punting from, good grief. They punted from, let me make sure I got the numbers right here. They punted from the Dallas 47 to 49 to 44 and from their own 48 on 4 straight drives. Boy, there were some moments there where you just had to go for it.
And you had 2 touchdowns on fourth downs. I mean, let's be honest. Like, you look at this game in Kansas City not scoring a single point in the second and third quarters, that pretty much sealed the deal for you. You don't score against a team that is going to score points against you, and you're not going to have a chance to win. And the reality is that this team struggles at different times. Yes, there were some penalties that really cost them. You can make arguments about, holding calls, whatever, but at the end of the day, this team couldn't get enough going on the offensive side. And even when they had things going in the right direction on the offensive side, they have a drop in the middle of the field from a guy that's supposed to be one of their best playmakers. And it was a killer drop, because if he converts that play, it continues to drive. They probably put up points because Dallas really wasn't stopping them if they got down into the red zone. And this is a different game. But a drop there, and I don't know what you can do. I mean, you have the perfect play call in that situation. You hit Rashid Rice in the hands, and he lets it get into his body, and he drops it. And that is going to kill drives every single time. And in a game where you go, I don't know how many drives they had, it seemed like 6 or 7 drives in a row where they scored no points. You can't have those types of plays at the end of the game.
It was a 4-drive run. For me, what you take away from this is a team that, again, for a close game, Matt, was not able to put the final points on the board, was not able to come down in the crunch time. Although scoring on 2 of your last 3 drives, okay, I'll give you credit there. But this is something that they have to take away from. They are a 500 team at this point. And what comes next from this ride home tonight is you have to get back on the horse. You're not mathematically eliminated. We'll talk about the season and the turning points of this game that affect the season in the next little bit here. But for right now tonight, Matt, what are the positives that you have to latch on to in order to continue to fight through the rest of this schedule?
Boy, I mean, coming out of this game, I'm just not sure where the positives are. I mean, what can you hang your hat on? I mean, I guess you scored 28 points, but again, Cowboys for most of the season have been giving up points like crazy. So 28 points on the Cowboys isn't a lot to brag about. I'm at a loss. I mean, even I try to be objective. I try to look at both sides and see where I can get some positive. And when the team is rolling, be wary of where the danger is coming from. But I'll be honest. I mean, other than just going back to Kansas City and doubling down and making sure that you don't lose again is about the only thing that you can do. Because another loss is you're done. Was the tiebreakers. Yeah. There's just it's hard to see a way forward with another loss. 10-7 probably is not going to get it done for this team. There might be a 10-7 team that makes the playoffs, but it won't be the Chiefs. So I don't know. I'm going to be really interested to see what happens, because this is, and I think maybe we'll talk about this in the next segment. I mean, this is an opportunity where if you don't come back with the right attitude, that this is a place where this team could just fall apart.
Let's hope that they're able to avoid that. What can they do? What turned this game, plays, etc.? That's coming up next. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game and you just want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets that happen during the game. Everything for everyone who will score from the next point to the fourth quarter comeback. Plus, you can even combine them all into a same-game parlay, take an even bigger shot at a payout. Keeps everything exciting. It keeps it up to the minute, especially when your team's making that late push. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So go ahead to FanDuel.com and sign up. Over at FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Lot to take away from. You can find us all on our normal outlets at NFL 33, RGR Football, Chiefs Digest, and KC Chiefs Corner. Matt, the season turns on this game and puts it right up to the edge now. But this game turned on several plays. I have a couple of big takeaways, but you kind of mentioned my first previously. It's not just the 4 series drought in a row where you're punting. It's the fact that you have a chance to double up and you failed miserably on both the last possession of the first half and the first possession of the second half. Those back-to-backs tell me that not only is there something going on that you're mentally not squared in a way to finish a drive, but you're not getting that lift that you should have at an extended halftime when you can make further adjustments. I felt that this was more of a mental lapse than it was anything else. What did you see?
Yeah, and and you throw in the end of the game sequence as well, because as Steve Spagnuolo will tell you, maybe the most important 12 minutes of the game are the last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 minutes of the second half, and the last 4 minutes of the game. And those 12 minutes, the Chiefs got routed. I mean, they got the touchdown, that one final drive that they were able to sputter out and get it done, but then the defense just has to get a stop. They have to get them off the field, and they couldn't get it done. And that's something that let's face it. If the Colts had run the football in the fourth quarter last week instead of throwing it, this would probably be 3 losses in a row that we're talking about, because the Colts just absolutely puked that game away to the Chiefs a week ago. Today, I mean, the Cowboys closed out the game. Give them the credit. That's exactly what they're supposed to do. But the fact that you've got a defense right now that can't get you off the field when you need to, and today they only got the Cowboys off the field twice. One was with a turnover, which was a great play. They need more of it, and they forced 1 punt today. But you've got to do a better job of that. And that's where this defense has really been struggling of late, is just that they haven't been able to get off the field. And one reason why is because they haven't been able to get consistent pressure on the quarterback. They really only got pressure, I felt like, on Prescott on the opening drive. And after that, it was nothing the rest of the game.
Yeah, against a backup left tackle. And that is something you just absolutely cannot have. This team, when we start looking forward and looking to the offseason, one of the things that they're going to need to figure out is they got to get better pass rush, because this is not going to be acceptable going forward. They cannot just have Chris Jones, and Chris Jones will be another year older next year when he comes back. But you look at this and you look at how this game played out, you're in a situation where those 4 straight drives, you have a penalty that killed each and every one of those drives. You have 2 holding calls. You have another 5-yard penalty that killed one of those drives. You just absolutely keep continuing to shoot yourself in the foot with penalties, and it was killing this team today, and it's killed them all season long. And you look at what they have to do going forward, and what it comes down to when you start talking season turning points. They go up against the Houston Texans. And yeah, they have a little bit extra time to rest, and hopefully they can get healthy. But right now, your starting line against the Texans is Wanye Morris, Kingsley Suamataia, Creed Humphrey, Mike Caliendo, and Jalen Moore.
40%.
Don't know who's going to be comfortable about that. Sorry.
Yeah, and hey, maybe it'll be mixed up. Maybe it'll be Jalen Moore left tackle and Esapole on the right side. Who knows?
Yep.
Either way you slice it, it's not ideal. And again, you mentioned the penalties. They had 10 penalties for 119 yards. Cowboys 7 for 50. I mean, they got penalized too. It wasn't as severe, and they were not as just absolutely crushing, soul crushing as the Chiefs penalties were. And again, I mean, the Cowboys didn't have a ton of problems with execution. I mean, they didn't have the drops that the Chiefs had. They were able to defensively come up with some plays when they needed it. But it's been a story of this season, and I wish I could have a better understanding of it and explain why it has been this way, because this is a team that over the years has done the little things right. And whenever we have heard Andy Reid given the, hey, this team is just off a tick, eventually they figure it out. This team still has not figured it out. And, and there's going to be there's a lot of reasons, why this team is in the spot that it's in. There's some things that not only have they just not figured out how to fix, but there's some just rotation and lineup that they still haven't figured out how to fix. They haven't figured out who their best, 5-6 defensive backs are. They haven't been able to generate a pass rush most of the season. The drops have been an issue all since week 1. I mean, bad drops at the wrong time have just been a consistent issue. And that's just something that this team doesn't normally do. And yet this season has just been, this game was a microcosm of it. Everything the Chiefs have struggled with made an appearance in this game.
Josh Simmons is being reported as in a cast leaving the locker room for the Chiefs with on his left hand. So just wanted to throw that out there as an update. Yeah, that's not good. And it could be a season. We'll see, but just wanted to throw that out there.
We will find out. It doesn't bode well. For me, I think the point that I felt like the momentum swung the most, the thing that changed this game as a hinge point for me was demoralizing for the defense because they gave up the play. But for the offense, I think it also said, you have to be on to win this ball game. We're not going to get this done. And that was the long run play. I know not everybody's so fired up about the run plays, but I am. When you let a backup, I know he's more of a scamper back, Davis is, than Javonte Williams, who I warned everyone about, but he's still able to strike, and he did. I thought that was the biggest play that turned the tide. Matt, what did you see?
Yeah, I mean, for talking for the broadcast, talking about how it's just it's frustrating when a guy hasn't caught a pass all season catches a pass against you like Jared Wiley did. When your third running back breaks off a 43-yard run, I mean that's soul crushing. Again, and once again, I mean, what caused it? Chris Jones overplayed it, over pursued, got out of his lane. And then it just created a backwash that everything kind of collapsed after that. And again, I mean, that has been a problem that the Chiefs, that has cost them games before this season, when you have had guys trying to take matters in their own hands, when Chris has tried to take matters into his own hands. And yet you saw him kind of taking responsibility on the sideline, but taking the blame after the cows have left the barn, it's not really going to fix anything.
Well, and when you throw that out there, you're looking back, go back and look at the Chargers game. Chris Jones comes in and goes inside where if he goes, where it lets Herbert get outside of him and cost the Chiefs the game. I'm not going to say that cost the Chiefs the game, but it's one of those plays where it just continues to show that you cannot. He has amazing plays at times, but he cannot be consistently in where he's supposed to be. The other thing that I saw that really is going to drive me nuts, and Matt, you kind of talked about this, talking about their corner group, and Ryan, I know we've talked about this plenty of times, but not having Christian Roland Walls today, I think really hurt this team, because then they put Jamari Connor in there and he got beat over and over and over and over again. And that's when you're even talking about Jalen Watson having a bad day, who's played pretty well this season, and Trent McDuffie. You can't have all three corners being horrible.
It's too many targets.
It's tough.
There's no way to get there. And I know this sucks on a Thanksgiving evening that everyone's trying to eat their meal, and we appreciate you guys for being here with us. We have some things, guys, that did stand out, and what were the failure points that they have to shore up right now. This team has never been in a position where they have to fix things in order to finish season at 500. That's what they're staring at. I think they can do it, and we'll tell you why next. Standouts are hard to find in a game like this, Matt. But as you said earlier, 28 points did go up on the board. They did do some good things. I will give Andy Reid credit. By my count, 37 called passes to 20 called runs. That is enough of a balance in a game like this where you know you had to throw the ball because it is the weakness of the opponent, that I felt like they still stuck to the run enough to keep the defense honest. Am I just trying to find something rosy here, or do you see the same thing?
Yes and no. I mean, to me, the one kind of thing that popped up was that on those 4 drives where they were punting at midfield, is that they got away from the run. The first couple of drives, they were running the football effectively, especially in the second drive. I mean, the first drive was just 2 plays and done, but the second touchdown drive, I mean, they did run the football effectively there, and then it just seemed like it got a little bit sporadic after that, and it wasn't a consistent anything that Mahomes could lean on. And, and it just seemed like they were a little bit out of kilter on those 4 drives. Nothing was really consistent. And again, I mean, pick which one. Certainly the one with punting from the Dallas 44. That one is just, that's the one that's going to haunt them, because it was, I think I'm trying to remember, I think it might've been a little bit longer than I remember, but I don't think you can punt from that spot. And, like we said, it wasn't that they were punting from their own 15-yard line today. They were punting from midfield or the plus side of the field consistently. Only one of those punts was from their own side of the 50. So I feel like that there were definitely some bad decisions made, especially for a team that needs to be taking some chances. I mean, they need to be playing aggressive, because they've kept. This feels like a team that doesn't feel like it can trust its offense, which is crazy, because the one thing that they should be able to do is to trust Patrick Mahomes and trust this offense, and that you can't stop them repeatedly. You may stop them on a 3rd down, but are you going to stop them again? Well, going back-to-back wins against the Chiefs offense is not necessarily always going to happen. So it just seems like you've got to bet on your offense. Maybe they will. I mean, right now they've got to be more aggressive. So maybe going forward, they are going to be taking those chances. I will say one thing on the defensive side, and I was kind of perplexed by this, and maybe it's just because Chiefs fans are in a foul mood today, but the only guy on the defensive side that I thought had a good day was Nick Bolton. I think he ended up with like 11, 12 total tackles, had a couple of stops in, the pass game, which is obviously his weak point. I didn't think that he got toasted at all. And yet I said one thing defending Nick Bolton on social media, and everybody revolted like, I was like drunk. And I'm just like, okay, I think you're just trying to find fault without finding fault here. I mean, as good as the offense was, as bad as the defense was, I mean, I thought Bolton was one of the few defensive players who actually looked like that they honestly, like they had an effort today. Everybody else just looked like they were beaten. And this was probably the worst game I've ever seen from Trent McDuffie. That was really surprising. I mean, I was worried about it because obviously his weakness is going up against bigger receivers. And if he was going to be on Pickens and CeeDee Lamb all day long, it could be a tough day. It ended up being a tough day for him.
And I will say this about, you talk about those 4 situations where they're on the Dallas side of the 50. The first 2, 4th and 15, I think, and 4th and 16 was the second one. Then you're in 4th and 5 and 4th and 4. I get not going for it on the 4th and 15, 4th and 16. You get penalties. You can't try it in that situation, but I completely agree with you. You have to be more aggressive as Reid has been this season, and they've been so good on 4th down. Give Mahomes a chance, especially later in the game when the offense hasn't been clicking. You talk about Trent McDuffie. He had a rough game. He almost gave them a chance to get back in this one, but the ball didn't bounce in the Chiefs' direction. Turpin's there and recovers the fumble. McDuffie made a fantastic play on Pickens, but it just didn't bounce Kansas City's way. That has happened, and I'm not trying to make an excuse. Please don't take it that way. But that has happened all season long. The ball, which bounced Kansas City's way last year at times, is bounced away from them this year. And you talk about Bolton. I agree with you, Matt. I think he had a good game. He almost had an interception. CeeDee Lamb had to play defense on that play, where Bolton probably has an interception.
And probably you had pass interference on Bolton, but Bolton did not get flagged.
The problem is,
sorry, go ahead, Red. I'm done.
The problem is that they didn't get enough support, and that's what it comes back to. 0 sacks on the day. Only 4 people touched the quarterback that were on the defensive line. So a third of the hits on the quarterback came from the secondary players. Spags hit it early. It obviously showed you what you can do when you put pressure on Dak, and it was part of the plan. But Nadi, Amenahue, Gelati, Karlaftis, 1 each. For Gelati and Amenahue, they had the prime matchup. You have to attack that weakness. They weren't able to get there. And I know he's a rookie, and I have higher hopes for Ashton Gelati than most do. But I was disappointed that at that prime level, at this point in the season, they weren't able to generate more passers. This has a mark that is going to fail not only this game, Matt, but for the rest of this season. And it is going to be the talk of the entire offseason until that draft day.
Yeah, and it's not always going to be a talk, but there's going to be some concerns about, hey, you just gave a lot of money to George Karlaftis. And yes, he's had a lot of pressures this year. Did not have many pressures today. But once again, when is it going to turn into sacks? Because at this point, you're paying him for those pressures to turn into sacks. And that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough because now you're in a situation where you are going up against Houston this next coming week. You have Denver still on the schedule. You have the Chargers still on the schedule. And we already talked at the beginning of the show. If you don't win out, you're done. You have no chance at the playoffs because you've lost to all the teams that are pretty much ahead of you at this point. You've lost to the Jaguars. You've lost to the Bills. You've lost to the Broncos. You've lost to the Chargers. Like, you're just in a situation where you have to win everything to even have a chance. And with the way that this team is playing, the inconsistencies that they have, and it's not even just inconsistencies. It's the defense to an extent. It's Andy Reid to an extent, but just not willing to make adjustments. I mean, the Chamari Connor thing just completely exasperates me every single time. You keep running him out there in a situation that he's not made for. I would have rather had Noel Williams playing outside against CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and put McDuffie in the slot than have Chamari Connor out there on a regular basis, because at least McDuffie going against people in the slot is probably going to be in a pretty good position. You just have to make adjustments. Spags is refusing to do so. And when you can't get to the quarterback, it exposes everything on the back end. I do think that they did miss Brian Cook today. Edwards looked okay, but there was another one. Edwards had a chance at an interception, popped the ball up, and they can't get it. Like, it just bounced away from them. This team is going to have a very hard time even making the playoffs at this point. The ball is bouncing away from them, not to them, and it's going to make it very hard.
It makes it difficult on a holiday like this, Matt, to find the rosy parts. But we have to remember, there are still 5 ball games to go here. They have an opportunity to correct some of these mistakes. It's very late for them in this season, But if you had something that you felt you could push the coaching staff towards in order to try and make something out of this loss, what would it be?
Yeah, and well, and like Chris mentioned, I mean, you've got 2 road games, down the stretch, against 2 teams that have combined for 3 wins. So if you don't get to win those 2 games on the road, you got problems. Now you got 3 games against potential playoff teams in your other 3 games. So how do you go about trying to win those games? I mean, one is that what I do have some concerns about is just that this team stays together, that, that there's not any signs of fissures or anything like that could be popping up. I mean, it's entirely possible. It's certainly in character for a team that has higher ambitions than the Chiefs have, are at this point 6-6, that there might be some divisions in the ranks. So that's the one thing, is that this coaching staff has got to figure out a way to do, is to keep this team engaged, make sure that they don't fall apart. They've got the leadership to do that, but they're also just going to have to play the rest of the season with their hair on fire.
Yep.
That's a little bit of it. I mean, even starting at the top, because, Mahomes, we've seen it. I mean, when in the last couple of games have been great examples of that, when he just decides, hey, it's throw everything with reckless abandon into this, he can do incredible things. And that's once again what he did today. And that drive and that throw, I'm going to need a still image of that throw, just so that you can have, Patrick Mahomes like inches off the ground, horizontal, and being able to say, hey, this throw was completed. I mean, it's the crazy things that he does. But here's the thing, is that the time for going slow and slow rolling is over. You're going to have to play with your hair on fire from the first snap to the end. And if you don't, you're probably not going to make the playoffs. And if you don't deserve to make the playoffs.
Really quick.
January and home.
Yeah, it's possible. I do want to point this out. I completely agree with this. Every time we lose, remember, they've won 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls. And the reason I point that out, so thank you, Maya, for that. I really do appreciate that. But the reason I point that out, and something that I think I'm very thankful for, this Chiefs team has been amazing. They've been in, 5 Super Bowls in the last 6? That is phenomenal. You have to wonder, is it possible that at this point, it's been too much? They've been late January or February runs for 6 years now. It's just too much. They're just wearing out. They need a little bit of a break, and maybe this is the year that they get that break, and we'll have to see where things go in the future. I'm really thankful for what we've seen from this Chiefs unit. Granted, obviously today stunk, but you look at how this is going to play out going forward. I do think that you have the pieces to put together. You have the ability with Patrick Mahomes to come in and do it. It's just a question, can you execute? Right now, they haven't been executing, and if they can come out and they can play a clean game, then they have a chance. But until they play a clean game, it's not going to matter. And you can say some of the pass interference were ticky-tacky, and I wouldn't argue with you. I don't agree with some of the holding calls as well. I get it. But you're going to get called for stuff. You have to be able to overcome it. This Chiefs team doesn't have the ability to overcome. And when you're, 1 in 6 now in one-score games this season? Like, you're not going to be successful in that. You just cannot win if that is your record in close games.
You're right. And I'm glad you brought that comment up too, because that's one of the things that I try to remind people all the time, and I have not done a good job of it tonight. But that is, Chiefs fans are so freaking lucky, because this has been an incredible run. And honestly, here's some tough love. When your team is having a season like it's having, and one of your guys like Trent McDuffie is having the night that he had, and you're name calling and bad mouthing him, no, that's when you need to give that guy a hug. I mean, you need to love him up, because these players have done a lot for you. And hey, is there going to be a reckoning? Will the Chiefs have to deal with what happened this season and go in a different direction? Yeah, they're going to have to fix a lot of things this offseason. Because this season, and then once again, this game was a microcosm of the things that are wrong and that this team's going to have to work on. Doesn't mean you can't enjoy the rest of the season. It doesn't mean that you bet against this team, because I'm never betting against Patrick Mahomes going 5-0 over 5 games. He's got a pretty good chance to do it. So,
You're
but
absolutely
enjoy
right.
it. You are freaking spoiled. Sorry.
I will tell you this, folks. Go look it up. This could be the Chiefs version of the 2008 Patriots. You'll
Thank
see all
you.
those reasons why, and I'll tell you about them next week as we break it down. Thank you for being here on your Thanksgiving. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your holiday. We will have Matt back. If you guys want to destroy him, that's perfectly fine, but grow up a little bit. It's all right. We are going to continue this debate back and forth. Nothing stops here. We appreciate you. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Matt, taking your time away from your family tonight. Chris, thank you for running the show and making sure that I'm on time and checking my spelling. I appreciate you, buddy. And thank you all. Happy
15
Thanksgiving.
years and counting.
Yeah, thank God. I need an editor, folks. You just don't know the pain that he goes through. It's fine. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful holiday. Enjoy your weekend. Try to get away from football for a little bit, and then we'll be back at it. We'll have it all for you. We'll have Matt. We'll have everything. Happy turkey, and enjoy that apple pie. We'll catch you next time.